And we're back.
Hey.
Hola, mi gente.
Hola, hola. What's going on, guys?
I feel like we haven't been here forever.
Yeah, it's been several weeks. You want to kind of give them a rundown on where we've been?
Yes, so we did not disappear or abandon you on purpose. Well, maybe it is on purpose, but we had a very good reason.
Very good reason.
We just moved in together.
Hey.
So we're coming to you live, recorded from our new episode headquarters.
Yep.
It looks exactly the same because apparently now all the rental houses nowadays are just painted some shade of gray.
Yeah. No matter what.
Yeah, so this is our new place, and you actually did a YouTube video on your channel, babe, Ray's Garage, where you do a tour of the house.
That's true. Yeah, it's a quick little tour. That way you guys can kind of see everything and kind of see where how we're living a little bit.
Yeah.
But the shop is awesome. It's got a detached garage. It's super great for working on the projects and stuff. So super thankful and excited.
And the dogs are getting along great. They've acclimated to the space very well.
It's like the day that we got the keys, we brought the girls, and they instantly took to it. I mean, I think they knew. And then once we moved everything in, because we did it together, we didn't hire a moving company or anything.
I was going to, but Mr. Man over here was like, babe, we can save like $700 if we just do it ourselves. And, sometimes it's nice to have a partner that like brings you back down to earth. I feel like you do that for me, because sometimes I'm just like, no, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do anything. But it was actually a really good process because I feel like I got to be way more intentional about the stuff that we brought over.
Yeah.
Because I was actually the one packing all of it and like going through all of it.
Right.
Versus like bringing over a bunch of boxes of bullshit that's going to sit there for a year. And I'm just like, well, why do we even bring this?
Yeah, you start consolidating the junk.
Yes.
And all the different
they threw
drawers.
Out many things.
And I mean, you want to tell them about this kitchen? I mean, that was the huge selling point, right?
It's true, y'all. So, on top of this podcast and on top of all of the million of other things that I do with my time, I started my whole journey as a content creator as a food blogger. And so I love me a nice kitchen. Okay. And when we walked into this rental, I was like, oh my God, this is the kitchen of my dreams where I am going to be so excited to create tons of new content for my food blog, Delish Delights. So we'll go ahead and link all of the little channels and things that we're building here.
Yeah.
But this kitchen, I know you said it, like I've never seen you cook this much. And it's because I fucking love being in the kitchen now.
It's giving barefoot Contessa.
It is. I am nesting. I am officially nesting.
Yeah, it's been great. We've already done two recipes since we've been here.
Yeah.
And you guys go check out the Delish Delights channel. There's a ton of recipes on there. That's like Jannese said, that's her whole blog.
Yeah.
And recently we've been doing the recipes on the YouTube channel, and obviously it gets posted on the blog. But they're 2-3 minute videos, very quick, but right to the point, let you know exactly what you do, what to do. And then, so it's super sick. And that channel's been growing really well too.
It has been. And it's all thanks to you, babe, because you actually helped me kind of see the vision of what should be happening at this point. And thanks to your help with creating new content, my Instagram recently went viral.
Damn, yeah, that's
doubled
right.
our followers in like a week and a half.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and
huge.
It's been really, really awesome to see. And it's just a great reminder that like the right partner will actually help you elevate versus drag you down.
Yeah, I mean, I know, like, it was just the other day, or like 2 days ago, you were like, hey, I finally broke over the 10K.
After 10 years.
There's like a glass ceiling, if you guys know about the algorithms and stuff, unless you're just consistently viral, you hit these weird plateaus, and it seems like nothing you do can get you past it. But just being more active and then reviving the channel, the YouTube channel had, I think the latest upload was 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah.
I think it was during COVID. So, I mean, I think it's gotten like 600 subscribers in the last 30 days, which is crazy.
Yes.
I mean, for something that's like small is really good.
Shout out to Bay. He's so supportive. And that's one of my wishes for all of y'all in this new year. And we're going to talk more about how we can make intentional decisions in our relationships in the new year. But, shout out to anybody who's like navigating relationships right now. I hope and I wish, this is my New Year's wish to everybody, that your 2024, whether it's partnered or not, is a year that elevates you. And if you happen to be in a couple, we want to share some tips on this episode about how you can set intentions, New Year's resolutions specifically, for your relationship.
Yeah, I had no idea that was a thing. I mean, when she showed this to me, I was like, wow, I guess it just never clicked for me. I mean,
Right.
it's like one of those simple things like the Scrub Daddy sponge or something. It's like, damn, why didn't I think of that? Or you would have thought that was going to be a low hanging fruit. But the New Year's resolutions as a couple is a new thing. That's a new thing to me. So it seems like a
Yeah.
really good idea.
It's a brilliant idea, right? Because I think a lot of us go into the new year kind of being a little selfish about like
Right.
we're gonna focus on ourselves, or whether you're gonna work out more or you're gonna
Start
eat
a
better,
business.
right? You're gonna make more money, whatever it is that you want to do.
Hmm.
If you're in a relationship, like all the things that you do for yourself are going to have an impact on the relationship,
Right.
negatively or positively,
Right.
right? So why not make some New Year's resolutions as a couple
Hmm.
so that not only are you elevating personally, but you're elevating together.
Wait till you guys see these examples because it's like, I mean, I was thinking to myself, I'm like, we do a lot of stuff together, but that stuff
Yeah,
makes you want to do more,
it
But-
does.
So shout out to you guys that are going to be paying attention here.
All right, so we're going to give you 8 relationship resolutions to make in the new year. And this article is from bridalguide.com. Shout out to any of the brides. I know that struggle is so real. So if you're exhausted right now, I'm going to pray for you. It will get better.
Yeah.
And I know we saw your mom kind of go through that process as a bride. Like the end of, the road when you're about to get to the weddings when all the shit pops off.
Yeah.
So,
Toxic.
wishing you lots of serenity and peace in this process.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so number 1, New Year's resolution is to make as a couple. Spend more time together.
I mean, that's going to be the first thing that comes to mind, right?
Yeah, because, I think couples time, especially for the parents out there,
Mhm.
can be like the thing that we just don't have time for it, right? We ain't got no
Yeah.
time for ourselves. The kids need this. The family needs this. The job needs this, blah, 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 blah. But I think it's really important for you guys to set a goal to spend more time together doing things as a couple, whether it's like day-to-day tasks. Like
Right.
we cook together.
Yeah.
We will just be sitting outside in the backyard with the dogs, like just talking, connecting, or maybe it's celebrating a special occasion, like just being more intentional about like the birthdays or the anniversaries or whatever. You can always find more ways to enjoy each other's company, and I think it takes a lot of intentionality.
Yeah, and I know that making time is one thing, and then you have the money issue as well too, and so it's easy to put that off. I know that we were talking. You were saying that it's one of those date night is one of those things that's easily canceled, right, or postponed or whatever. So, just because it's quote unquote date night, it doesn't mean you have to go out. It doesn't mean you have to spend money. It's you guys can figure something out. Cooking is really
Speaking.
good because cooking pretty much has to happen.
It's so true, and I think
anyways.
it's fun. I think a lot of people kind of put this negative connotation on cooking as another chore. I've never understood that because I think for me, I just like it. I like what it symbolizes too, just like the chance to disconnect from the world. You're focused on what you're doing. You're more present, I think, when you're cooking. You're making sure like shit's not burning down.
Mhm.
You
Yep.
know, you got to make sure you're paying attention. And so I really like the art of doing it together, because then it's like you guys get to enjoy this thing that you created together. I think
Hell
it's
yeah.
fun.
I mean, and the food always tastes better, right?
When
there's
it's made with love.
Yeah, exactly.
So speaking on dates, go on more dates. That's resolution number 2.
Yeah.
Okay. And we're not talking about, Ruth Chris, $250 fucking steak dinner every week. Okay. Because the land out here is super ghetto. It's super expensive.
Yeah, I mean, if you want a chair, it's $1,000.
Right, exactly. You need $1,000 a day, apparently, to like live a comfortable life, according to millennials nowadays, which I understand, yes.
It's hilarious.
But it's not about the fancy date nights. It's literally just like picking a time and a place to do something. What's an example of something that we've done for free recently?
So in St. Pete, they have out on the pier. They have I think it's the first Saturday of every month. They have free bachata, salsa, merengue. It's not really classes. It's really
Like a social.
Yeah, they have like the guys. They show up with their equipment. They play the music. A bunch of couples come out. It's like a Facebook group that Jannese is a part of. So it's literally from like 6 to 9. So it's 3 hours of just a bunch of couples out there dancing, people learning to dance, people watching.
Yeah.
And it's all people of our ethnic background as well too, which is fun. And that's completely free.
Yeah.
And we actually ride our electric bikes down to the pier.
That's a date in itself too, right?
Right. Exactly. So it's a good move, And I know that not everybody lives in a place that's that has a lot of stuff to do. You know, I remember living in Asheville back before it was all breweries and blah, blah, blah. I mean, we used to complain about, man, there's nothing to do. There's nothing to do, you know, so.
But even if it's like hiking, taking the dogs for a walk, just like exploring a new part of town, being a tourist, right? I always say, like, we live in the most touristy place on planet Earth, Florida, and I'm the worst about just like being a tourist. I think we take things for granted when we live near these things, right? I still haven't been to Disney. I'm here 5 years now. It's crazy.
I would like to go check in with Disney.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm just like, there's so many things to do that people come to wherever you live to do, right? If you live in the Northeast, there's like wineries and skiing and, you know, all types of activities that don't cost a lot of money.
Hell yeah.
So just get outside and kind of change your environment, and that has a lot of positive impact, I think, on your relationship.
Yeah, and also another fun thing is, I mean, I know people kind of get used to whenever they go out to eat, they go to like a franchise place like a Carrabba's or Olive Garden or something, but you know, try to find some little local spots in your area, because that's sometimes you'll find gems, and a lot of those mom and pop places are a little bit more affordable too, just because they don't have so much overhead and blah blah blah.
And they're usually better.
Yeah, of course. You know, that's I mean, it could be 50-50 though.
Yeah.
You know, you gotta definitely be weary of the comments, or the reviews. But like I said, go check out your town and you know, help out the
local economy. Right?
The local economy, yeah, exactly.
All right, resolution number 3, be more honest with each other.
And I think there's mainly more about being open, right? Being more willing to talk about certain things that might be a little more, you know, maybe we haven't talked about that. I know I think one of the examples you had was people don't know what they like in the bedroom. Right?
Yes, so absolutely. Just being more honest with each other, communicating more, having less secrets, right? I think there's some people who think that not telling you something is not lying, where it's like, no, it's actually lying by omission.
Right.
So I think it's important to just not have an environment where you feel like you don't necessarily trust your partner, or like you can't keep it real. And I think that goes on both sides, right? Because one of you might be more volatile and might be more reactive to like maybe negative information.
Yeah.
And if that's you and you want to foster communication in a relationship, like, you need to get a fucking grip. You know, you need to figure out how to have a conversation that doesn't result in you blowing up, or just like making it a hostile environment that does not foster honesty.
Yeah, not everything is an attack. You know, you can relax. You know, and then it's all about how things are perceived too. One of the things that I thought was helpful was if you and your partner have conversations, and sometimes there's little bickering back and forth, and a lot of it happens through text, you guys are at work or whatever, it's because the context is not relating. So we have iPhones. One of the best things to do if you guys are in a tough conversation, whatever that may be, is do the voice note, because one, it's a lot more efficient, right? And then so you get to say a lot more in that 30 seconds of talking.
Hear how it sounds.
And that's the number 2 thing, is that they get to hear your tone. So they think you're upset about something, but they can hear your tone, and I'm talking like this, like, no, I'm just trying to say my part, blah blah blah. Then they get to hear that, and they're like, oh, okay, he's not freaking out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So food for thought.
Yeah. Okay, resolution number 4, try new things and experiences.
Right, restaurants.
Yes, this can be like activities, but this can also be, I think, in the bedroom.
Yeah, I think that would be helpful for a lot of folks,
You know, because I think especially in long-term relationships, maybe you can get into a rut sometimes when it comes to your sex lives, and it's just like, oh, we're just doing the same thing every time, or we're just not like trying new things or experimenting or initiating things differently. Like, things get boring, y'all. Things get stale.
Well, I mean, it is true, you know. I think that, I guess if people have like, I'm sure there's only a handful of moves, right? I mean, everything's going to get cycled
Get a
through.
copy of the Kama Sutra.
Right, but, you know, I think that the time, maybe the frequency of when these things happen, you know, when you guys get, you know, involved, I think that you guys can change that, and that would spice it up a lot versus like, you know, I'm going to get a fuck swing or...
Well... yeah, I guess we'll have to find a place for that. Anyways, new experiences, new things. Don't be afraid to also, I think it requires a certain sense of vulnerability.
Yeah.
Right? When you are very comfortable with your partner, that you're like open to wanting to explore different things, like that's because you trust that person and because you feel like they're not going to judge you or be like, ew, why do you want to do that?
Right.
So I think it's important to just like foster that conversation and like that environment so that you can feel comfortable, bringing up things. Maybe it's like you want to try some role playing, or, you're like, I don't know, I saw this on the internet the other day. Maybe we could try this.
Well, and you got to be careful with this too. So there was a clip that we saw the other day, and a chick was doing this, right? Of her and her fiance. She wanted to.
Oh, they start like sharing partners in.
Yeah, so she was the fiance, and she had a girlfriend or like a best friend, and
hard pass for me.
They wanted to share, and they ended up getting together, with her male fiance, and the friend ended up getting pregnant. So remember the story,
yes.
right? So that's you got to be very careful about that, because now she's in this predicament where the friend is going to keep the baby, and that's their firstborn. He doesn't have any kids. That's supposed to be her. That was something they were wanting to share together. So she was really conflicted about that whole thing.
I'm very conflicted on the whole polyamory thing. I feel like this is me just being very ignorant about the whole reason why people do this. But I feel like it's a weird way to like justify cheating and making it like consented cheating.
Yeah. And well, one of the things when we were watching, when you put me on to the Sister Wives, the one of the first things I asked was like, are they all hooking up? Like, is this like a thing? And you're like, no, they all have separate houses. They all have separate kids. And he goes and spends a day at this one and a day at that one. And I'm like, bruh, I can't even do it. Like, I am way too simple-minded to be maintaining all of that. You know what I mean? I cannot, bro. Like, I mean, that's
one
just
woman
crazy.
is exhausting. Can you imagine four?
And it's like everybody,
Jesus.
it's too much. It's too much.
I don't know how people do it, but like, if that's your cup of tea, tell your partner, because maybe they're into that shit too, and you have no idea because you never talked about it.
Be open and honest about it. I mean, you never know. You might get yourself in a special situation, and you're like, damn, I should have brought this up sooner. Shout out to you.
All right. I love that for you.
Oh, yeah.
Not my cup of tea. Okay. Number 5, focus on more intimacy, whether that's holding hands, kissing in public, cuddling, writing a love letter. Add spontaneous romantic gestures to your life. Make this the year of passion for you and your partner.
Hell yeah.
Right? I think you're so good at that, too. You're just like randomly... You walk out of a room, when you come back, you just kiss me because I'm sitting there.
Right.
Or like we always kiss each other goodbye or hello when we enter the house. And it's not like anything scripted. It just happens organically. I think we're both very like affectionate in that way. So it's not something that we need to be conscious of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But if you see that your partner's just not giving you that level of intimacy that you need, again, you need to talk to them and be like, hey, I want us to be more intentional about our romance. I would like more romantic gestures, or whatever. You never know, because your partner might be feeling the same way and they just don't know how to bring up the whole topic.
Yeah, and another thing about that too is one of our sponsors is BetterHelp, right? So BetterHelp /Corazon. So one of the things that you guys could do as a couple for 2024 as your couples resolution is couples therapy, but not in a toxic way. So not in like, oh, we have issues, let's go to see a therapist. It could be if you don't know how to talk about certain things, sexual things or, plans for the future or whatever. If you have something that you want to talk about, but it might be better to have it, in front of somebody or whatever, then you can always do that too. Therapy doesn't always have to be for fixing something broken or repairing something. It can also be for curating something better and bigger for the future. So it doesn't have to be, we're on the verge of divorce, let's go to couples therapy. It could be like, I want to explore each other's bodies more. I just don't know how to talk to you about that.
Right.
Because some people are raised differently. So a lot of things are, a lot of things in the bedroom are kind of off limits just because of shame or guilt or religion. However they're conditioned. Yeah. So, to be able to, if you want to explore in certain things, you never know, you might crack the code with this person and unleash like the freak, right? You might, if who knows, you could, you never know what you can get yourself into. Or they could be like, ew, fuck you, no, that's gross.
Yeah, we're not compatible.
Then you're stuck dealing with it on your own, which you've probably been doing anyways. So.
I mean, I love that sentiment, babe, because I feel like it's kind of like you don't want to wait till you're sick to go to the doctor. You want to maintain your physical health.
Yeah.
And so I think it's the same thing with your relationship. You don't want it to break down completely and become dysfunctional before you start actually addressing the issues. And that's why therapy is so important. So again, if you want access to affordable therapy from whenever or wherever you are, All you got to do is go to betterhelp.com/corazon to get 10% off your first month.
I wonder how many people wouldn't have cheated had they been open and requested certain things from their partner.
Ooh.
That they, maybe they were like, I want, who knows? I could give a bunch of crazy vulgar examples, but just something totally left field, and you're like, hey, I want you to dress up as like in one of those like kinky nurse things. And then she's like, what? Maybe like, what are you talking? This is coming out of left field, but maybe he knows she's going to freak out. She's going to be like, where'd you get that idea? What have you been watching?
Yeah.
And then he doesn't even want to bring it up, but then, he's going to go find it elsewhere. So I just wonder how many people wouldn't have cheated had they been open with their partner and been like, I want to do this. This is something I realize that I like. I want to explore it, Hopefully it's nothing too fucked up, but people get into some crazy shit. But I don't know. I am curious how many people would have stayed faithful had their person been satisfying, satisfying them sexually.
Yeah.
Instead of being like, kind of like your cousin was like with her man. She was like, don't touch me. Like, she was just kind of like, don't fucking touch me, blah, blah, blah. Like,
yeah, I think that's the typical like narrative of married couples, that you just can't fucking stand each other, after a while. And it's just like, ick.
So then you're having sex like once a month if you're lucky, bro?
Yeah. I hate that energy.
That's how people get cheated on.
Well, and I think also why men cheat versus why women cheat, it's like completely different reasons, right? Yeah. Like women have left a relationship mentally and emotionally before they ever like leave physically.
Yeah.
Whereas men, I feel like there's a myriad of reasons why men cheat. Some of them have just grown up to think that it's normalized behavior, like we've seen on 90 Day Fiance with Asuelu and Kalani, that he's just like, well, every man cheats. That's just the culture, blah, blah. We just accept that from our men.
Yeah. But
I think sometimes, there can be sexual addiction issues. There can be mental health issues. There can be drug issues. There can be all kinds of issues that like make people stray. And I think the foundation of all of the reasons why either sex does it, or either gender, is because there's a lack of communication. There's just a lack of communication about what y'all need from each other. There's probably a lot of resentment that's built up. A lot of like toxic shit has happened. You don't actually resolve any conflict, and you just get to a point where you hate each other.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, all right, well, I hate him, so I'm going to go and find another dude to sleep with. Or I can't stand her, so I'm just going to go find somebody else who's going to tolerate my shit.
Yeah, it's one of those things, especially when there's kids and there's money and marriage and all this other stuff that gets involved. It is a lot easier to step out and have something going on the side, especially if you work like a 9 to 5. At my factory job, it was like, it was wild to see the work husband, work wife situation, and everybody knows, and everybody's copacetic with the whole situation because they both have things to go home to, and so they know how to maintain it with each other, and just the whole thing is super crazy. So, I mean, communication for 2024, I think for any couple would be my number one thing for you guys, would just be like communication in all aspects: money, sex, emotions,
all the
things that aren't getting done around the house. You got to just speak up about it, because next thing you know, I use the analogy, he could eat chips the wrong way. You see what I mean? So it's like you let all these little things pile up, and you're like, why are you eating chips like that? And he's like, I'm just eating chips. Yeah, but you're my bad, I didn't even realize. And like, I fucking hate you.
Everything just irks your spirit.
Yeah, and then sex is out the window completely. You're like, why do you sound like that behind me?
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
Okay, resolution number 6. Spend more time with friends and family as a couple. Oh, I like this one. I think we've been doing this more too now as time has gone on. Bring your relationship to new heights by spending time with family and friends together. As a couple, you'll both grow stronger by being with loved ones, and your inner circle will get to know your partner even better. It's a win-win. I would also probably add more friends to your circle. Add more couple friends. Like if you realize like you don't have a lot of people to go out with because, whatever's going on, maybe you're the only friend that's in a relationship that's healthy.
Yeah.
And everybody else is fucking toxic and they don't even want to be with their partner. Like, go find some healthy couples friends. And this goes back to like, go out and meet people, go out and do new things, because you'll be exposed to new environments.
And I mean, don't feel the pressure, right? You can always, if you guys have it figured out or whatever, and, if you guys are craving that, I guess that's one thing, But, if you guys are cool with what you guys got going on, I mean, you don't need to feel the pressure of like, I'm not shit because I don't have friends.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
there's so many people out here that quote unquote don't have friends, or they only
Facts.
have friends at work. I've been through it a bunch. You know, all my childhood buddies and stuff, we've all stopped just throughout time.
Yeah.
So this whole craving for a best friend and all that other shit, you don't have to feel that stress about that. You don't need anybody to go through life with other than the person that you're with.
Yeah.
And oftentimes, more than not, you'll see that friends can bring around a lot of bullshit. You know, bad influence, bad decisions, and maybe even a little bit of jealousy and animosity and stuff. Just
Yeah, you
weird
gotta be
energy.
careful about how you
So
curate that circle.
yeah, and it's like sometimes it might not even be worth it, especially depends on what age you are. If you're like 21, 22, fine, you still have time to like form a best friend. But if you're in your 30s, that shit's gone out the window.
Yeah.
I mean, you might find someone that you click with and quote unquote, that's my best friend, but you guys didn't grow up together. You guys don't really know each other inside and out. So just don't feel that pressure of like, I'm not shit because I don't have friends. Almost everybody in this world doesn't have friends.
Well, and I think it's very seasonal too. Like I've noticed there are just groups of people that I will hang out with because of where I am in my life, you know, whether that's a new geographical location or whatever.
Sure.
And it's like, you're not going to retain the same circle of people. You're not going to want to retain the same circle of people around yourself. So I think this is also a good time. Like if you're a couple that does have a bunch of people around you, take an inventory of all of these people. Like, what are they adding to your life, both individually and like as a couple? Are you surrounded by people that are in toxic fucking relationships that are just not doing anything to encourage or like inspire you as a couple? Like, you don't need to be hanging out with those people.
Yeah.
Right? Because at the end of the day, it's like, if they're not pouring into you in some way, like now's a great time to start pruning.
Yeah, and it's I think a good thing to do is also look at what activities are you being invited to, or like what has come up for you to hear from that person or these people or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, we were kind of going through something with somebody's birthday party, you know, getting canceled but set up by somebody else, and you know maybe the intentions weren't even weren't for the person who we were supposed to be celebrating. I think it was more of a social event that was trying to be planned. So you just got to be careful about that. Just because they might not be best friend material doesn't mean they can't be your friend. You know what I mean? You can keep them around and stuff. It doesn't mean you got to cut people off, you know, but just
know
be cautious,
their purpose.
you know, like know when you get that text and you see it on your phone, you're like, oh, it must be somebody's birthday party. They must be wanting to go out. Let me see what the invite is this time.
Right.
So.
Yes. All right, resolution number 7. Say I love you at least once a day.
Yeah,
I like that.
I feel like that must fall by the wayside with people, right?
Yeah, I think a lot of people, like, it goes back to just being complacent and just assuming that the person knows that you care. You know, I've seen, like, reality TV shows and, like, whatever, and they're just like, well, I just thought you knew. I just thought, you knew I loved you. And if you're with a person who has words of affirmation as their love language, you need to tell them, okay?
I think everybody has words of affirmation.
I mean, I think everybody does to a certain extent, but some people more than others just need to hear from their partner that, like, hey, you're beautiful. I still want you. You know, like, it's just one of those things where if you don't hear it for a certain amount of time, it could just start bringing up all kinds of like insecurities because you're just not being told the things that you need in order to feel secure in your relationship.
Do your parents tell each other that they love them?
I don't really think so. Like, I know my dad, like, whenever he travels, he's very intentional about, like telling everybody he loves them and blah, blah. Like,
okay.
But
damn, it's like he's going to war every time. You're
I
like,
mean,
Jesus.
it's one of those things where, like, I'm not particularly religious, but I will pray every time a plane takes off. Like, it's just one of those things.
Facts.
I'm like, I'm gonna let Jesus know I'm on this plane, and God, like, get us to the destination. And I'm always very specific about the destination because I don't want him to think like destination means like heaven. Because I'm not ready yet.
Oh shit!
I'm like, please take me safely to my destination of Elizabeth, New Jersey.
I just ask him to knock me out. I don't care what happens. If it's going down, let it go down. Just let somebody's shoe needs to hit me in the head. I need to, and I need to just sleep through the whole thing.
Yeah, my parents, I don't really remember them saying I love you a lot to each other. But there is this thing in Puerto Rican culture, out of respect for your elders or your parents, you're supposed to ask for their blessing. You say bendición. And they respond with Dios me la bendiga, or like, God bless you. And it's one of those things where, like, I can't say hello or goodbye to my parents without asking for it because it's almost like a form of disrespect. So I guess that's one way that, like, we, like, have that words of affirmation thing for each other?
Yeah, I was just curious because
Yeah.
I know when I was up there visiting for Thanksgiving, I didn't really notice any like PDA
No,
or
no, my parents are not
no
like
like
that. I mean,
not
but that
they
generation's
danced
not like
though.
us.
They were very nice
Yes.
when they danced.
Yes.
You know, I definitely saw it there.
True. Yes, my parents are some ballroom dancers, y'all. They're
Hell
amazing.
yeah. You guys can
Okay.
actually see the short on Corazon YouTube.
Oh, yes, we did
'Cause
put it on there.
I made a short and it's on there. It's sick.
All right, and resolution number 8, do nice things for each other. Take the time to be sweet to your significant other, from cooking dinner or surprising them with an affectionate text message or an unexpected gift. It's the little actions that make a huge impact. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
All right, so those are our 8 tips for you to create some resolutions for your partnership this coming year. And I think just the most important thing is to just like be intentional about how you operate in a relationship in general.
Right.
Right? Like, don't just assume that like it's in the bag. You don't need to try anymore. I don't need to work out no more. I don't need to take care of myself no more. I don't need to say I love you. I don't need to, just be spontaneous or romantic. Like, that is how a relationship goes from thriving to trash.
Mm-hmm.
When you just get comfortable. The same way that, like, if you want to maintain your job or you want to move up in your company, like, you got to keep doing better and better, or at least like maintaining the same level of excellence. And we have to approach our personal relationships in that same way.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
I mean, it's a garden. You see those guys out there in the garden, they're tilling up the weeds, blah, blah, blah. They're keeping it fresh. The rows are nice and straight, and they're getting the best crops out of that garden that they can. So, it's these little analogies that we need to look back on
Yes.
and remember how things are. So,
yeah. So do you have any resolutions for yourself, babe, coming up this year? Have you thought about it at all?
well, I mean, I got the workout equipment. And
Yes, you did.
And I did start, I think it was the 2nd of December or something is when I got it. Just a Facebook Marketplace little bench and got the cable pull down, blah, blah, blah. But I think my resolution is just going to be actually maintaining working out like 3 days, maybe 5 days a week. I'd like to get to 5 days. But right now I think 3 days a week for, I'm only the 2nd week into it. So I think this is good.
Yeah.
I think that'll be something I wanted because it's been something in the back of my mind ever since I stopped working out freaking 15 years ago, right? Something long time ago, but I've always had that want to be like, man, I want to get back on the weights, not to get huge or anything like that, but I just miss the activity kind of. So
Yeah.
it is nice to have that. I think that's going to be my thing, and probably overall just be a little more cautious about the soda and stuff. I think I've been pretty good about it, but I definitely need to. I mean, I pretty much just drink it at restaurants, but I would like to switch over to sweet tea, even though it's just as bad.
Yeah, it is.
But for me, it's the carbonation.
At least not going to rot your teeth.
Yeah, for me, it's the carbonation and the teeth, and then it does it gives me heartburn too. Just that gas alone, whatever they're putting in there to make it carbonated.
Yeah.
I've noticed that if I don't have carbonation for a day or two, my heartburn's essentially gone. But if I'm drinking sodas and stuff like that, I mean, it doesn't matter. I can be on an empty stomach and I'm going to be like, oh my God.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the carbonation, whatever that gas is, no bueno.
I love that. I think my resolution for the coming year is going to be more business related. I feel like this is the last year that I said yes to things because it's like, quote, a good opportunity, or because you should do it, or because you're at this level and this is what you do. And I don't want to operate that way in 2024. If it's not a hell yeah for me, like, I'm just not going to do it.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of the energy that I'm bringing into 2024. It's like, I'm doing shit if and when, not just because.
Right.
So, yeah.
And I mean, usually when, an artist takes off time or something like that, they're doing that while they're working on like the next thing. So,
my next thing is the book.
yeah. So you've got this book tour press run that you're going to go on.
Yeah.
And then, that's going to be the first quarter of the year going into the second quarter. Yeah. So that's going to be,
coming out like 2 days before my birthday, which I'm just like, damn, I can't even celebrate my birthday the way that I want to this year, but it's okay. I'm going to count it as I'm making a sacrifice the first half of the year to chill the second half.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of, people go on tour.
Yeah.
And then they chill. So, but either way, I mean, we're a team now. So.
Yes. And I couldn't do any of this without you.
I mean, you already were, but.
But I'm doing it better.
Okay. I love you. You're the best.
Oh, you're cute. Okay. So we're going to hop into our Reddit thread for the conversation. And this is actually going to be the last Reddit thread of the year because this is our last episode of the year when we're coming back with season 2. And we got a lot of cool stuff in store for y'all. So make sure that you subscribe and stay tuned. It's going to be fun.
Hell yeah. It's going to be exciting. That's for sure.
Yes. Okay. So the thread is titled, Am I the Asshole for Not Wanting to Support Someone Else's Child?
Hey.
Okay. My ex, female 28, had a child before we were together. That was never an issue when we were started dating. And when I got serious, she asked to move into my house with the child, and I was happy about it.
Damn.
Throughout the relationship, I treated the child as I would my own. I paid for everything, sports club, insurance, tutoring. She receives $389 a month in child support from the father, and he sees the child maybe once a month.
Damn.
Fast forward 2 years. We have our own kid and one big happy family. We've been talking about getting married, and when we did, I would adopt her first child, which the dad was okay with.
Wow.
Okay.
Does that alleviate him of child support?
I think so.
Damn.
But I'm not an expert.
Wow.
Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong.
That's crazy.
I proposed to her and 2 months later saw that she had been sexting someone and even sending nudes to them. I was crushed and asked her to move out of my house.
Dang.
After she moves out, I offered to give her $1,600 a month for my child, so the child that they had together. And she also got a part-time job making minimum wage. She says I should give the same amount for the other kid as well because I was going to adopt the kid when we got married. I said no. She took me to child support hoping to get more money, but now she's only getting $700 for the kid versus the $1,600 that I offered.
You played yourself.
Okay. She's spreading rumors about me and trying to ruin my reputation, and she's also trying to guilt trip me, saying that the kid's life has turned upside down because of me. Am I the asshole for not wanting to support someone else's kid in this situation?
I don't think so. I think he did more than he should have. He joined into a ready-made family, and that's one of the risks that you're going to run into with that whole situation. I mean, his situation kind of worked out as good as it could be, other than the fact that she was, cheating. But the fact that sounds like he had a good kid. He was willing to take care of him and stuff. I don't think he's the asshole. I think she's the cliche reason why men will specifically choose no kids on their dating app. That's a very, very prime example, just how she moves, how she operates, her whole mentality, the cheating, so the entitlement that she has.
Wild.
And so it's like, okay, well, I'm just going to check that box that says does not have kids. Because it's just not even worth it. It's just not worth it.
Yeah.
I mean, you might be a better person, and you might be a chick that's worth it, but man, 9 times out of 10, it's not even worth the journey. And those journeys usually take a while to show themselves too. So you might be good for a year or two, kind of like he was, and then all of a sudden the whole thing comes crumbling down. So be careful with that. What do you think?
I mean, she fucked around and found out. That's what I think. That's what happens. At the end of the day, like, the child's life has been turned upside down because of her, because of the way that she's moving.
Yeah.
So the fact that she's trying to put that on you is just like a sign that you probably dodged the bullet, sir.
Hell yeah.
You dodged a big bullet. And she was really ridiculous to, like, take your ass to court for child support, because she could have ended up getting over double the amount that the courts had awarded her. So I'm just like, this is what happens when you're messy and you move that way. And unfortunately, the consequences fall on the children, because now, another broken home.
Yep.
Because this woman had no morals. She just wanted to operate real messy. And, now she's trying to guilt trip you into being responsible for her shitty decision making. So I'm like, sir, you are not the asshole. You dodged a bullet.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, he still has to deal with her because of the child. But,
at the end of the day, children become adults, and then they begin to realize who their parents actually were.
Yeah.
And I think that's what people fail to realize. At some point, your kid's going to realize, oh, that's mom. That's how she moves. That's how she operates. Wow, I don't want a relationship with her.
Yeah.
And then it's just like, who do you got to blame? Nobody but your damn self.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, and it is only a matter of time.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think this was a good episode for the last one, babe.
Yeah, I mean, even though we had to reshoot this one,
We did have to reshoot this. Disclaimer, y'all.
it was my fault.
Technical difficulties are part of this whole process as a content creator. And so we had actually recorded this episode 2 days ago, maybe.
Yeah.
And the audio was not hooked up correctly. It sounded like crap. And I was like, well, we're not going to do that to our audience. We're going to go and be troopers about it. And we're going to have this whole ass conversation again. And I think it turned out just as good as the first time, maybe even better.
I think it was better because I had a couple of clips I was going to play, but then afterwards I was like,
Yeah. Let's not get canceled.
Yeah. And I guess the source that I was actually, after you said that thing about like, because it was like 3 clips and it was all women basically, right? And I was like, I went back on the source where I got the clips from, and I'm looking and I'm like, it is geared like that. Because I mean, I guess it is, a lot of men are on that spot, but there's other content on there too. So I don't know, but once I started looking through like the last 2 or 3 days, I was like, okay, maybe it's the. But they put messy stuff about dudes on there too.
Yeah.
But it's just few and far between.
Yeah.
It has to be like a P. Diddy situation for it to really get on there versus like some viral chick of being like, a guy needs to make $500K to talk to me.
Speaking of P. Diddy, my God, that whole thing, it's just coming up, like all the drama. This is what happens. One person starts talking and then everybody's like, oh, we're talking about this now?
He messed up because he paid her off. Everybody's coming for a bag now, and they all know he's worth $1 billion.
But I think he's also probably capable of what he's been accused of because,
No, I'm not
power
saying,
corrupts.
I'm not saying he's not, but I do think that maybe if he would have held, I don't know, it's tough.
We don't know how we'd handle that situation if it was us.
All I know is he clearly felt like it was much more appropriate for him to pay and settle than it was for him to try to fight to clear his name and go to court and get everything subpoenaed.
He had some corroborating evidence, though, like with Kid Cudi confirming the fact that his car blew up in his driveway. Yeah. It's just like, there's probably some truth to this. Maybe it's exaggerated truth.
That's just the tip of the iceberg. Puff does not want any of the stuff about him coming out. There's no way that you only get to that type of mogul level in that industry by being ruthless, by being cutthroat, by being no rules. You have to be the devil for real. Yeah. And he has what it takes to be that guy, no matter who he has to take care of or what needs to be done.
That's wild.
And you'd be surprised what money can do, like a lot, especially money like that where he's making more a day than he's spending a day, 100-fold. Yeah. So I mean, the guy's probably making $100,000 a day to his name between all of his stuff, right? So it's like I can't spend $100,000 a day.
I don't know, but what reminds me that like even celebrities don't have perfect lives is this whole new breaking update with Cardi B and the fact that she talked about that she's been single for a minute because now her husband or soon-to-be ex-husband is being accused of having an affair with another rapper's baby mama, potentially fathering a child, and I'm just like, what, money at the end of the day does not guarantee a happy life because y'all see a lot of these people out here who are in relationships that are hella toxic. We've seen plenty of examples with that, but I was happy to hear that Cardi had moved on from, what's his name, Offset?
Yeah.
Just because, like, they've had toxicity in their relationship from the beginning. They've broken up several times because she's accused him of cheating. There's stuff that has come out on the internet. She's been publicly embarrassed by him in many different ways, and it's just like I know what that's like as a woman to just always feel like you need to be on defense because you need to be defending this man who is out here like just embarrassing you, and at some point you get tired of that shit. It's disgusting.
Yeah, and I wonder too because like if you look at people like that who came into a lot of money at an early age with very little quote unquote hard work. Okay. I'm not saying the late nights in the studio and blase. There's work that's been done to get there. But when you get showered with that kind of money and with that type of mindset and like everything's easy, I hit the algorithm, everything's easy. You start to kind of get lost in the sauce and you think that the rules don't exist because you're like, dude, I didn't even try. I didn't even try. All I did was just like mumble rap with my brothers in a closet and we just uploaded it. Next thing you know, I'm like worth $20 million. Yeah. And so it's like, and it's not just them, it's actors, it's NBA players, it's everybody at a young age that didn't do a lot of hard work to actually, I feel like it's imposter syndrome. They know that they didn't really earn it, right? You got someone who's like, I don't know, the founder of some magazine company or something. Those guys aren't usually tied up in these scandals and stuff because they have a lot more to lose because they grind.
They're also not in the public eye in that way, right? Like that's the thing too. I think a lot
That
of
is
people
true, yeah.
that are actually from wealthy families, they make very intentional decisions to stay out of the limelight because we don't need nobody in our business.
Right.
Whereas like the whole world of celebrities, literally, it's created and it's kept going by all the public shenanigans.
Yep.
So I'm just like, you know what? This is why when I was dating again, I was like, I'm not dating another influencer. I ain't dating no content creators. I ain't dating no podcasters. I'm not dating anybody with some fucking significance because it's almost like too much.
You get gassed up.
Yeah, I'm like, let me go date a regular Joe Schmo man who is not out here in these internet streets being a hot mess.
Yeah.
I love that for me.
All right,
so anyways, y'all.
Listen,
that's the episode.
That was fantastic. What a good way to kick it off. I wish you guys a very Feliz Navidad.
Yes. Happy New Year. Shout out to all the couples. We're wishing you lots of success in the new year. Make sure that you are setting those goals for yourself and your relationship. And until next time.
Hey, and shout out to the single folks, too. There's no shame in your game.
Yeah, maybe that's the year of partnering up, too, for those single folks. You're going to be more intentional about your dating profiles or whatever.
Yeah, and if you are single, hey, that's a good time to work on yourself, like not just your health and your body and stuff like that, but like get to your bag too. You know, if you started some type of side hustle like Jannese did, and she's got the Yo Quiero Dinero, you guys go check that out. I know that she's going to be having some sales and stuff on her courses, and you guys, if you guys are single and you're not dedicating your time and your emotional energy to somebody, then you should do that to something.
Yes.
And what better thing to do that than a business or your body, because you're going to see the results through your body, you're going to feel it, and then if you do it through a business, you're going to feel it through your monetary way.
Yeah.
And that's going to be huge too. And both of those things, even the better help working on your mentality, but all of those things working on a better you is going to make you better for the next person.
Hells yeah. And that's what we're all about here.
Yep.
All right, y'all.
Happy New Year.
Peace.
See ya.